Shalom, Israel. I'm gonna try to make this quick, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostle, elder bishops, great millstone. Much salutation to the brothers teaching word for the hopeful elect, soon to be the elect, most high will. To the hopeful extended elect, Shalom, blessings. Getting right into it, man. It was a movie called Boomerang with starring Eddie Murphy, Halle Berry, Robin Givens. I think David Greer was in there. There was a lot of prominent actors in there. Chris Rock was in there. Uh, you know, so and if you look at she's Halle Berry is like, I don't know how old she is right here. It was Hollywood Shuffle, I guess, during that time. But in Boomerang, the movie I'm talking about with Eddie Murphy, she was 26. Let me see. How old was Halle Berry when she starred in Hollywood Shuffle? Yeah, it's not gonna tell me right away. But anyway, she was quite young, probably 24, something like that. Anyway, getting to the point is like, this is you can see in her face, she has that innocent woman look. She's very delicate, very woman. Like everybody had a crush on Halle Berry, man. She is one of the most pretty known female actors in our time, especially in the '90s. Um, soft spoken, delicate. Even when she started, and I know it's an acting role, but even in her public life, being in the Hollywood lights and all that, interviews, all that, they were similar. Her personality and her soft spoken voice was similar to when she acted in the movies. Um, and this is what Jake used to like. So that Jake's mentality has changed according to what's been offered to him and what's out there. Uh, you know, I, they do a good job and influence our women to be whores. The whole rap industry changed, the whole R&B industry changed. I mean, the music industry, period. Um, with the leading role, lady roles, as whores like Sexy Red, Suki Hana, Cardi B, Little Kim. It goes on and on. Uh, it was a little different back then because, a lot of the females that were in those rap groups were like, I'm saying, they were in groups. They were, and the men usually would be the leading uh, male figures of the rap group themselves, such as Biggie, Smalls, Jay-Z, people like that, and then they would, Ja Rule and them. And then they would have the first lady of the rap group. That started even back before the '90s. Uh, so that whole liberation, women's liberation, that including women in the circles of men, even the gang banging. You know what I'm saying? Women got involved as, so to speak, an equal figure to the man. Um, this face of this woman, young woman, is forgotten. The mannerisms of this woman has been forgotten. Um, and I'm just using her as an example. Uh, you know, if there's any woman like this, with a personality, a soft-spoken and delicate, he's not in society, and she probably not even known anywhere. So, now Jake desire these kind of women, you know. And I don't get it because these kind of women, they're against the man. Talk shit against the man, you know. Uh, ill gestures to the man. Ninjas ain't shit. Get your money. Stay independent. F these niggas. F these. It's like I don't understand Jake as much as he, you know, says to be in his manhood. He shouldn't even like women like this, man. Boisterous, bossy. Who likes a woman like that, man? That's like another dude. Now, if you go back, um, Holly Berry, and like I said, she's not even a little girl right here. This is a grown ass woman right here, man. You know, the angriest she got in that role, and I'm using the movie Boomerang as an example. The angriest she got is when she told Eddie Murphy, "Love should have brought your ass home." She'd said that is soft spoken, you know, and you could look at the um, older pictures, you know, of our people back in the '60s, and the women, they were all in dresses. The little girls were all in dresses. You know, you wouldn't catch a little girl with pants on, and they did go to church and all that. So that's out the door. Especially that's out the door. '70s got a little, they got a little hyped up. You know, the music kind of changed. Like it's 10-year wave periods of our culture, so to speak. The '60s, the '70s, '80s, '90s, '70s kind of changed. You had Shaka Khan, you had you know, Don Ross Springs, that Motown thing, but they kind of like had a little. Um, they were kind of like a little more boisterous, more attitude-ish, you know. Patti LaBelle with, you know, even that song Moulin Rouge, I think it's called. And I got a new attitude. And in the '80s, you had the rap hip hop came in strong, and you had female rappers like MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, you know, Roxanne Shante. Then you had battle rappers like the real Roxanne. Roxanne Shante was a battle rapper. She was battling dudes too and talking about dudes and all that. Um, you know, Queen Latifah, Supersonic, and all them. So you kind of had it. They were more involved, you know, more with a voice like Sister Soldier, people like that. And then you had the '90s, which was a lot at the hype of gangster rap, and included in the rap hip hop industry. You know, to where now, you know, if you got gangster rappers, you're gonna have female gangster rappers, more hardcore rappers. A little, you know, it was a Lil Kim, and then you had your, you know, coming to following Foxy Browns and all that. So also when yeah, Lil Kim was kind of like the first one of the ones that was kind of like put it on another level to being nasty and attitude-ish and all that. Um, but you know, you had a song by MC Lyte, and I'll get to the scripture. You had a song by MC Lyte called "I Need a Roughneck," and in that song, she was rougher than the. She had a deep voice, Timberland boots, baggy pants. She was like rough her damn self, and you know that was known, especially among other states of our people, talking about how New York women are, and I don't. I think it's a stereotype, uh, but I think it's. I think that's everywhere. It's just they express it differently, you know, in each state. But there's a ghetto in every state. Um, so, uh, of course, we know the scriptures about don't desire her beauty. Proverbs 6:25, lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. So there's beautiful women, but a lot of these women don't understand. We're not, even though we like women and like to lay down with women, and that's a great thing too. But we like the attitude. We look for the attitude of women too. We look for, how, you know, if I can get along with this woman, how humble this woman is, or does she talk a lot of ish? You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, the spirit of the woman, the aura of the woman. Is she classy? Now, if you get into the game, and especially the rap game, that's why this is mostly geared toward rap, or geared toward rap or of rap. When you look at these women, yeah, these dudes that's involved in the strip clubs and drugs and all that, and I'm not saying every gang member, I'm not saying every drug dealer is like that, but it does apply to the stereotype of what kind of woman you would expect doing those kind of activities. And it's usually this. Somebody like Halle Berry, even looking at her aura and her soft spoken carrying on, even the way she's sitting, she's not gonna be uh, she got to shoot for the stars in her eyes, in her mind, like a rich man, pretty much. Now, you could find a diamond in the rough. A lot of times, a lot of these women were diamonds. I mean, they were decent women in the rough until they got into the industry. We know the devil changes our women, uses and abuses our women, turn them into whores, encourage them to be whores, influence them to be whores. We know that game. Little Kim used to be cute, man, back then. She was, she used to be a pretty young, and she had kind of like a innocent look about her, like this. Uh, but when she got in the industry, around the rap game, the Hollywood, you look at it now, it's like night and day. So. It's another scripture that says, what it says. It says, "O Israel, return back to thy first love." It really is talking about the love of the Most High, in the ancient ways and customs that we used to live within Jerusalem when it was whole, when it was Most High was still dealing with us. The culture, the establishments of the church, establishing of the church, the city of David, the holy, land. But it kind of like shows in a lot of our women and how how our relationship is at this point with our women. If you, if Jake thought like that, he would probably think more so to get a shoot for a woman like this. Over the women that are ratchet, sexy reds, over the women, and like Corey Holcomb said, like shit, when you got no money and you barely living and you paycheck to paycheck, you're not gonna have the best of women. They showed you that in Fresh Prince, and I know I'm talking a lot, Slacky, but they showed that in Fresh Prince, Bel Air with Will Smith. He came from West Philly, came from the ghetto, and a little kid, coming and been sent to live with his uncle that had a mansion, and his children were in college and school and good well taken care of, and he used that to his advantage, you know. So therefore, he was called a prince. Um, Now you could still be a call yourself a prince and a king in the ghetto, but it ain't gonna go too well as far as attracting what a king really has, or what a prince really has. You know, effect with the power that he has, display with his riches. But you know, before I talk too much, it says knowledge. More precious than rubies. That's what this knowledge is, more precious than rubies. But our women don't understand that. If they did, they would be attracted to us. Cause you could be a rich and be an asshole, and the women will still love you, cause you rich. Uh, it says primarily, and you see in that movie Boomerang, Eddie Murphy made pretty good money. Describing wisdom, it says Proverbs 3:15 describes wisdom. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things that thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. You know, it even says, verse 10, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of the husband doeth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoilment. This describes an excellent wife, emphasizing her trustworthiness, diligence, and godly character as being worth more than precious rubies, bringing good and enrichment to her family. Can't find that today. Virtuous, let me get that word right quick. Spelled it wrong. No, I didn't. Let me get it right quick. That's why a lot of women want to return back to the 90s, because uh, the times were more so-called simpler. The love, it was more love in the house, more love between the man and the woman. They had the love songs and all that. Um, it was so easy to find a woman in the 90s, man. I mean, they'd be knocking at your door, or you'd just run into them, like, that easy. And you can hook up with them now. It's like, I'm not dealing right now. I'm cool by myself, and I don't want to feel like, hey, it's done. It's too far done. It's the end of the world. It says virtuous ability, wealth, force, army. That word is hayal.
Strong's H2428. Chayil. Chayil.
Okay, so who can find a strong woman, not in her mind or but it says honor a wife as the weaker vessel. She don't even know her strength is in her weakness. Her strength is in her being submissive. You got this, a woman that looks like this. Everybody gonna come running to help her. Her brothers are gonna be like, hey, don't touch my sister. Delicate, light on toes, pretty, uh, but not so much the sexy reds, the Sukihanas and all that. There's women pulling out guns and killing dudes now. They don't really need protection no more. But you would think, like, if you saw her walking down the street that somebody's gonna pull up to get with her to protect her and say, "Hey, what are you walking on the streets alone for?" You know, or I'm going to work. Well, you need a ride? I mean, you know, but not so much the other way around with the other women. Uh, and maybe that's why you women are hurt, because you really, in all actuality, all reality, like we're living in the last days, you're not going to be able to find what they used to find in the 90s. Compatibility, you're not going to find that. That's over. You know, we're in a time of war. We're in a time of World War III, martial law coming, digital currency. The whole world is changing. New world order. So all that 90s stuff, you know, I'm that 90s type of 90s kind of girl. They even had Living Single, but each of them women on Living Single, Queen Latifah, Kim Fields, I think that other one was the one that played Maxine. I forget her real name. And the one that played, I know her name, but I just can't think of it right now. Sinclair. They were all pretty women, and they were all trying to hook up with dudes. Each of them, they had boyfriends on the show. So that's not a. You have 4 single women today, all living with each other. They probably end up getting with each other or just being single all the rest of their lives and getting money. They probably end up stripping, or you know, have a high end job and then leave the house. It's not gonna go like it would when as the movies shows and movies that we used to watch. So if you don't have this kind of like aura of to make a man assume that you're innocent, and pretty much, you know, a woman with this kind of aura and look, uh, in my personal opinion, she wouldn't. She's not up to anything devious. You know, it shows on her face. Like we said, the eyes are the window to the soul, man. You could just look at some women and look at, you know, for what they are inside. A lot of these women look like this. This is kind of like a inside. No matter how pretty they are on the outside, a lot of women don't even look innocent today. You know, and there ain't no such thing as really innocent, but I'm just saying, as close as you can get, it's not this, not the women of today. So, you know, when you ask yourself, well, damn, why don't men want to date me, or why they looking at me like that, or they act like they're scared, or they must be homosexual. No, it's because this is what they see. You know, and a lot of stuff you really can't hide today. It's all over people's faces. You know, all in these women's eyes. You could just see it, you know. So unless you're like Halle Berry, as an example, or those women, a lot of those women that were in the 90s that were at least the ones that were soft-spoken, and a lot of them were, especially coming under the industry, because they had to be submissive to the industry, so they had to carry themselves a certain way. These women have no filter because there's no supervision, there's no rebuke and real supervision of anything strict, and really is supposed to come from the father, from the man, but that's not there. So this is an all-out playground for them to express every emotion that they have, and express independence, and express them being tired of men, and you know, they want to do what they want to do. That's the direction the world has gone in, and our women take hold of it, and they love it. So, you know, one reason that they don't want to be Israelites under the Israelite man, you know, and they don't want to be, even though they're Israelites, they'll say they're not. They're not because they don't like order. You know, And they could be as slutty as they want to and still be appreciated and honored and looked at as like a diva, a queen, which goes back to, whoreism. And they could be, get their accolades and all that and credit for being exactly who they want to be, which is a harlot or a stripper or a boss lady or a diva. And that just doesn't exist in Israelite world, when it comes to the spirit of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Anyway, to the next video. Hopefully, it's edifying. Shalom.